Good morning, everybody.
Morning,
It's a race. It's Thursday, September
Thursday.
27th.
So,
Andrew, people are listening to us.
I know we have an audience.
Okay. Okay. You go.
Okay, well, it's Thursday, September 27th, 2023, and welcome to the Victoria Real Estate Show. We have today Jane Johnston of Remax Camosun, myself, Andrew Plank of Royal LePage, and we have also Begum Eryilmaz. I forgot to ask her how do you pronounce her last name. Eryilmaz. She's gonna come on and correct me very, very well. And she's
from
here.
Oasis Landscape.
Yes.
Yeah. So she's going to be talking to us about creating a sustainable garden with the recent droughts that we've been having every summer. She's been looking at how to create a garden that you can attend to without having to water so much.
Yeah, so, really important stuff.
All right, so let's get started. And here we go. Wrong one. There we go. All right.
We'll start with talking stats, and then we'll bring Begum on to talk sustainable gardening.
Yeah. Okay, so, go ahead.
Okay, so today, actually, I think we said 27th, but it's actually the 28th.
Oh, sorry, yes.
And it is, so we had 290 new listings in the last week come live. Compare that to exactly 290 in the week before, so even Steven. I don't know where that saying comes from. Anyway, pending 121 listings went pending versus 127 the week before, so slightly less in this last week. Not significantly less. Price decreases 141 versus 158 the week before. Still a lot of price decreases we're seeing. Definitely quite a few price decreases. A lot of sensitivity in the market. 4 price increases both weeks. 2 back on markets both weeks. 160 properties transacted versus 184 the week before. 35 properties expiring. You know, not everything sells. We say that. Versus 46 the week before, and people withdrew. 6 of the listings on market were withdrawn versus 4 the week before.
Yeah, so there's a lot of pressure right now for people to get their houses sold by the end of the year. Anybody who's on the market probably will get preferred closing by end of the year. There are some who will want to close it in January or February, but that's not very usual.
And people try to avoid the deepest, darkest of winter for a move for multiple reasons. Christmas season, or that holiday season for one. A lot of people are distracted. It's just dark. There's days are shorter. It's cold. It's wet. Sidewalks are slippery when you've got moving trucks and people. So yeah, it's kind of like not the best time.
Yeah. So, but we have a list to sale ratio of 41% here. So we're still in a slightly seller's market, but I will say, we're finding just pricing it's slightly high. It's a very price sensitive market and buyers are waiting. And I'm like, this is a nice place. And
I'm really finding some listings are taking a moment before they sort of reach the audience, and it's sort of like there's a pause after listing. Other properties just aren't getting any love, and some, and despite being what we feel is the right price point or have come to the right price point, and then of course you end up with multiple offers as well. And I just had a listing with multiple offers this week.
Yeah, and I think everybody thinks their house is going to sell fast, and then after the first 3 weeks, they start to get a little antsy when it doesn't.
You don't list your home to not sell it, right? You have this imagination in your mind of like, I'm going to list it, and this is how it's going to go, and this is the best case scenario. And of course, we all imagine and dream for the best outcome, and that's generally a fast, easy sale.
Yeah, I think the thing that surprised me, and a client said it to me the other day, like, when I saw my place, I decided in a week what I wanted to see. I was like, yeah, I'm decisive too, but many people aren't. And if there's more listings coming on the market, there's more choice. And so they're going to take their time. That's what slows the market down.
Yeah, absolutely. The choice thing. I remember when I ran my camera shop and I was in retail sales, and I would bring out. I would be talking to a potential client or a buyer of a camera. They'd tell me what they're looking for, and I would pull out. I at first would be pulling out, this camera works for you because this and this and this, and I would bring out 5, 6, 7 cameras and show them all these cameras and try to explain all of the benefits of each of them. And people would say thank you, and they would walk out. And I learned pretty quickly just to, here are the two I think would really work for you based on what you've told me, and here's why. And and they would make a choice. But when you've got so much choice, it's really hard to settle.
Yeah, agreed. Oops. Sorry. Okay, so I'm just going to do the stats of month to date. This is actually for last Monday because I come out on Monday mornings. So last week we had 260 net unconditional sales. That's gone up to 390 total for the month. And that's compared to 410 for the whole month of September 2023. So it looks like
2 more days to get there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty much on target.
Yeah.
New listings last week we were at 743, and this week we're at 1,044. That's compared to 1,155 for September of 2022. So we're down year over year, and last year I think we were still down as well. Active listings were at 2,659. So this is probably the highest I've seen in a long time, and that's compared to 2,300 year over year for September.
Yeah, and I just want to point out when we look at new listings, 1,044 in September 2023 versus we had more listings coming on in September 2022, but we had lower inventory of 2,300 in September 2022. We had more inventory coming on, but we also had it selling much more quickly, and it just kept that inventory low. Here we have less inventory coming on, and our inventory is growing. It does really show us that we are in a slower market. Although September 2022 is still, actually September
it was starting to slow down in September last year, I feel.
Yeah. Okay, so that's just some stuff to consider. Let's move on to next slide.
Okay, so I just want to welcome Begum. She is with Oasis Landscape. She has an interesting story. Her parents owned a nursery. She grew up in Turkey, and she has a love of gardens. She's an architect by trade, and she's going to be talking to us about sustainable gardening. So welcome, Begum. How are you?
Great. Hi, Andrew. Hi, Jane. So nice to be with you again.
Thank you.
Yeah. Before I start about talking about sustainable gardens, how do you think that we should maybe talk about the first steps of designing? It is very important. So I would love to talk about how we approach when we design a garden. What are the first steps? What we should concentrate on? Then how we can create a sustainable garden, if it is okay with you.
Perfect.
Yeah, it's like measure twice and cut once. You want to do this right from the
yeah.
Right? You're going to put a garden in. Let's not just grab a bunch of plants and.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, I'm going to add your show to the stage there.
Can I? Yes, I can move it by myself. You have just explained who am I. Actually, I'm a passionate person about designing. So you have just told I was raised and born in a nursery, then studied Bachelor of Architecture, then continued in Europe, in Germany and Holland, about designing special gardens. What we do, how we start to design a garden, it is quite challenging to someone who has no background about designing. So I will try to make it easier for you. I will try to show the first steps how we can start that. First of all, just spend a little bit time in your garden or landscape. Whether it's a commercial or residential, there is no difference. You have to understand the features of your space first. What does it need? And what are your needs? This is the most important part. Then please define your goals, whether you want to have a relaxing garden or a Zen garden or I don't know, a playground area, and how is the shade situation, sun situation, how is your access to the public areas. These are all important components when you want to design a functioning garden, actually. And one of the, again, most important part of this, when you are designing your garden, is location of your garden. Whether I mean, if you have a, for example, sitting area in the west side, unfortunately you won't be able to enjoy your afternoon time or evening time.
One thing I've noticed when I show a house, I'm always talking about where the sun is and how people are going to be using the property. So, I mean, I personally really love a house that has an east-west facing, like
Yes.
front and backyard, so that you have morning sun
Choice.
and afternoon sun. Yeah, and you have shade too.
Yeah.
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 Exactly. And it is very important also when you design your garden, Jane, you have to be aligned with the nature.
Mhm.
Sun, shade, wind. Wind is also important. I'm sure you have so many houses which has some fire pits area, which is a part of enjoying your garden. If you place it in a very windy corner, you won't be able to enjoy it anymore. So these are very important small details that you have to consider.
Mhm.
And also, it is very important to start very small. Just start from a corner. Just start from a flower. I mean, it doesn't have to be a whole design altogether. Enjoy your steps. This is what I would suggest to, I mean, designers. Because if you start from everywhere, it will be quite complicated for you if you don't work with a professional. So I would suggest everyone to start step by step. And it is again very important to choose right plants, and scale wise, I mean color wise, and also very important to choose endemic plants. Yeah, Jay.
So do you also look at height of the plants and like going from low to high? I noticed that you work a lot with circles as well.
Mm.
You are amazing. You are always one steps before me. Anyhow, I mean, yes, scale is very important. We are always trying to create three-dimensional outlook of a garden, because if you stay in two-dimensional, the garden will not going to speak to you, or you won't be able to enjoy it in a right way. So the next step is again scale and proportion, as you have just asked. There is a small house, as you can see. It is your decision again, which kind of proportion you want to see. But the balance of proportions are very important. And also in the garden itself, scales is again should be aligned with itself, whether it is symmetrical or asymmetrical, whether, I mean, color combination is also very important. Height combination is very important. In the second picture, you can see how you can combine your plants in a three-dimensional way. And also in the third scale, how you can combine it with color wise. So these are all the steps that you should consider. But it comes with the time. It is so easy when you have one time this practice. It is so easy to continue with that rules, let me say, or principles. According to my opinion, it is very important to create a focal point too in your garden. I mean, it could be a nice flowering tree, or a nice water feature with some architectural pieces, or
Mm.
a nice sculpture. You can, I mean, experience it too. There's a gateway here as a sculpture. So, or you can just use plants as a sculpture too. It is a focus point again.
You're creating living art here. It's amazing. I mean, having studied some photography and been having that as a hobby and interest for years, and reading about composition and also color theory and so forth. It all plays into all of these decisions as well. And the eye, if it doesn't have something to land on, um, it's a little bit nerve-wracking. So having that central focal point lets you land on something, and then you can relax into the space. I love this.
Oh, absolutely. Thank you. I mean,
I love the third one with the circle. Like it
That's
really
cool.
feels you're exactly what Andrew was saying. I'm just thinking, how can I put that in my garden?
let's think
Yeah, go
together, Jane.
buy a hula hoop from Canadian Tire, and that's wrought iron. Is that one? It's a huge, beautiful piece there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, it's funny. I was showing a property the other day, actually near where you live, Begum, and
Oh,
we're in the garden, and then all of a sudden we see this little fairy door. You know, people can be quite whimsical with what they do with their garden. So
because we also put our character to the gardens when we design them. I always try to understand also owners' approach and their character, because it is
Hmm.
not my garden. On the other hand, I just touch, but it is very important. Yeah, I mean, as you have just mentioned, Jane, curves and lines, these are some very important decisions. I'm a curve person normally. I love curved lines because the nature is curved by itself and it flows somehow. This softness make me relaxed. But
Mhm.
when it's a commercial building, sometimes we just need to use very straight lines, which is align again with the design. It depends on the size and the proportion and the need of the again architecture.
yeah, in at Pearson College, where I used to live, they have a trail that leads from a major building across the street, and then it goes down into the campus. And then, so there's the formal trail, and then on the side are the two trails people actually walk. So they're
Mhm.
both going to the different directions. Anyway,
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it is very important to make this decision, as you have just mentioned, accesses and the circulation, how you are going to lead people, because these are all our decisions. And you can whether use some platforms to create that circulation and an access, or you can use staircases or curved lines to enjoy more the gardens, or very small paths. These are all different steps that we use in our gardens.
yeah. What about the choice of plants that you use?
It depends again to the, I mean, character of the garden. Sometimes I prefer, I mean, grassy types, graphical types. Sometimes the leaves are very important, and evergreen gardens sometimes. It depends on also existent feature. I try to be aligned with the existing nature. If it is a, for example, beach house, we have totally different settlement. Penicilliums, grassy types, I mean, cortadillas, this is totally different. But if it is within the forest, we have shady, I mean, azaleas, sometimes rhododendrons to add colors, or different type of plants we can always choose. It depends on the, again, the site that we are working on as a back, I mean, first stage. Yeah, I mean, accessorizes are very important for me. We should think about them very, very carefully, because we can create an amazing system, garden, but if you don't touch to the garden with some pieces, it won't talk to you again. So we are trying to create oasis with using different accessories.
Hmm. Do you find it's like are you looking again for that curved feature? Like I'm seeing you have with like if you have a fire pit, are you going to make it round, or are you going to be linear about it, or
If it is next to a swimming pool, for example, some people prefer to have their fire pit next to their swimming pool, next to
Hmm.
a hot tub, for example. Normally, I try to make them then rectangular, because it is a harmony. Again, it depends on the shape of swimming
Yeah.
pool too.
Yeah.
But sometimes I just use, I prefer always circular form for a fire pit, because
Mhm.
it is, again, we see the same tendency in the First Nation culture, getting together around the type. I mean, it creates a very cozy and a very wonderful, I mean, atmosphere together. But sometimes, because of the shape of the pools or the sitting areas, we might use some rectangular systems too. Here you can see always curves because I'm a
Yeah.
curve person, as I
Yeah.
told.
I like that design saying form follows function. And, you know, if you're going to have a fire pit, having square, the people in the corners are going to be sitting further from the fire, and it doesn't feel as friendly, right? If it's a fire pit, then being circular around it is just how people would naturally go. So you got to think about the function first in terms of the design, and then you know, go from there. So
Exactly, exactly. And
So go ahead.
I, even if I create a rectangular fire pit sitting area, I try to keep it a scale a little bit bigger so people can move a little bit flexible. So
right.
still it is curving in here. Sorry, Jane.
The square will break up once people are actually sitting in the chairs and moving them around.
Exactly.
Yeah, but for display, it's rectangular. Yeah,
Exactly.
that makes absolute sense.
I'm just wondering, so we're talking about garden design, but one of the main issues in Greater Victoria right now is lack of water. So how can we plan for that?
Yes, we are going to talk about it, sustainability. I mean, right now, not right now, this trend has been started maybe 10 years before. We are quite sensitive, as landscape designers and architects, we are very sensitive about using water as less as possible. So that's why we work with sedums, gravels, instead of lawns area, because it is great to see a huge lawn area, but maintenance wise and also water wise, it is a huge load on our shoulders. So I'm trying to reduce it. What we can do when it comes to, I mean, maintenance and sustainability, we can always create nice, I mean, pictures by using gravels too. So you don't need to water this garden so much. We can use, by the way, people avoid using irrigation systems, which is wrong, because irrigation systems help us to use less water because it is controlled. So when I create a garden like this, I always try to encourage people to use irrigation system too. They can control the water usage in a perfect way in that way too. And you can still enjoy this garden in a perfect way.
I remember my mom putting the sprinkler on in Toronto when I was growing up, and she would just leave the water running all night.
Yeah.
This is also not a very wise way to use irrigation system. They have automatic systems.
We didn't think so much about conservation or use, and I don't recall, because I didn't pay the bills when I was a kid, but I don't recall water meters maybe being to the same degree, or at least water is very expensive now. So
Yes.
and then water restrictions in the summer and so forth. I don't recall that as a child. I just remember jumping through the sprinklers myself as a kid.
And we are very lucky in Vancouver Island. Actually, rain is an incredible support for us. Most of the time, we don't need to use the systems, irrigation systems, only summer. But when we design a sustainable garden, like I mean, in the pictures, we don't need to use irrigation systems so much too.
Yeah, and I was up in Shawnigan, and this guy was telling me the lawns were all brown. He's like, well, don't cut the lawn so short, because the longer the blade that's sticking up, the longer the root that's sticking down. So cut it less short so that you have to water it less.
Yeah, right.
You know, little tricks like that.
Can you tell me, going back to that last slide, I just noticed, would you ever put that kind of gravel on a rooftop deck, or is that really not a good idea? It just looks like
Oh, let's make an appointment for a rooftop gardens. Actually, I am working on rooftop gardens right
Mhm.
now. I do believe that roof gardens are the new orange because instead of houses, we prefer living in condos right now in order to make our lives smaller and sustainable and minimalist. So people need some places to get together instead
Yeah.
of using maintenance stuff. I mean, air conditioning stuff and that kind of stuff. I try to avoid them in a corner. So I create living areas with gravels, sedums,
Mm.
and some shrubs. And I have wonderful renders about that, which is coming in Langford on Gulfstream. I mean,
Okay.
new apartment buildings. So we will have a different kind of neighborhoods in the future.
Oh,
Cool.
neat.
Yeah. And these are all easy ways to create, living spaces, and these are all applicable to the rooftop gardens too. The I mean, we have to be very be careful with the statics. The load that we put on the rooftops are challenging, but these
Mhm.
are all design parts. If we collaborate with the right teams, engineering teams, these are all solvable problems too. So everything is possible. Everything is possible. And when we are facing our landscape, right now, there are so many conferences about passive houses.
Mhm.
Using sun and shade should be very, very smart. So here you can see how we can use a landscape in behalf of our, selves and as
Mhm.
an advantage. I always try to use, for example, the trees, evergreen trees, sometimes challenging, but the trees which loses their leaves during the winter time, they let us to enjoy sunshine a little bit. These are
Right.
small things,
Mhm.
yeah, but we should always think about them. And you can always use rocks as a design component to rocks. They are very interesting. They create an fullness in the garden. They don't need water. If you use them with a combination of right shrubs and grasses, they looks amazing.
Mhm.
Yeah. And we are trying to convince developers to stay in the lead process. Actually,
Yeah.
this sustainable way of living is very important. At the beginning, developers didn't think that landscape could be so important, but right now, it is a selling point. If
Mhm.
you have a nice landscape in a house or in a apartment building or a compound, if you have a right landscape there, you can sell it in an incredible way because
I,
people are looking for lifestyles.
I do find people look for that.
They do, and there's often times when you're looking at newer construction, the home is still in the construction phase, and you've been told there's some landscaping coming, but you're not quite sure what. And the place just really looks bare, and there's not the same privacy levels. There's not the same kind of just all put together
Yeah.
feeling, and there's not really the trust that without seeing it all put together that it will end up being there, and it makes a huge difference. It's the icing on the cake.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
It's
do
the
like the
bow on the
use
yeah.
I do like the use of the deciduous trees outside for
Mhm.
shade. I have a listing like that right now. And so not only do you get color, it's soothing when you're looking out at the green or when it turns red in the fall, but then in the winter as the sun goes down, it allows sun inside.
Exactly. And this is how we honor the nature and how we enjoy the nature. It is very important to live in a right way. With align with the nature. And what I was also thinking about, I think this is of course your subject, but the lack of inventory makes people also not giving enough importance to the landscape. They always think that just easy grass, one tree
Yeah.
would be enough for a housing system. No, we just need to create neighborhoods, living areas, get together areas, so we can create a happy community all together. This is what
I think part of it is, though, that some people are intimidated by too much garden because they don't know how to maintain it. So I think there also needs to be education.
Right, right.
We did a landscape design on the house that my children grew up in, and we were in the woods in a half acre near a creek. And I mean, it was a residential neighborhood, but what we had was a hilly landscape that was really hard to work with.
Yeah.
And we wanted to re-landscape it, but we really wanted to work within the bounds of nature. So the landscapers brought in a lot of more natural plants, like more local native plants, and made it into a wonderful space. And I suspect that even today it still holds well. I mean, we sold the home and I don't know what they're doing with it, but it was just done in such a way that it really worked within the lines of where we lived.
Yeah.
And so we didn't, and one of the reasons we chose that was neither of us, my partner and I, had the drive to do a lot of landscaping, or like a lot of upkeep work on it. And sure, I had to be out every once in a while with the leaf blower or whatever. We do a little bit of maintenance, but overall it was self-maintaining, and we loved that about that landscape. We did have a patch of green grass that was just your plain green grass, but we also had just wonderful spaces, and it took into consideration our own lifestyle as well.
The other thing to take into consideration is pets. So our dog would just dig.
Yeah,
Absolutely. And some plants are toxic.
And you don't need to have a grass there. I mean, what Andrew has just mentioned, it is very important to be aligned with the flow of the nature. So you just follow the consistent situation of the garden. Using endemic, we call them, I mean, local plants are very, very important. And if you have a dog, why don't you have a gravel garden? And it is so easy. You don't need to take care of it so much.
Yeah.
I love your dog, by the way, Jane. Anyhow, I mean, we as landscape designers and architects, we try to create again spaces that people can experience. Community gardens. For example, in the right slide, you can see we used, I mean, separation as again a vegetable garden. Why not? People can enjoy it.
Yeah, they're getting more popular, and people can use like either define or work together or define their own space and have a sustainable living. I'm actually in Vancouver right now, and I don't know if you can see, there's a garden.
Yeah.
There's a couple of them.
Isn't that amazing, Jane? Yeah.
So interesting. It's nice to see it in like working, people liking it.
Exactly.
Yeah, using it. And I think also for employment. So having a space where your employees can go during the day that doesn't have to be inside an office to work is awesome.
Yes. People need that.
Well, there's that whole talk of
these are escape points that they can enjoy, actually. So people do need that. Yeah.
Okay. So, Begum, how do people get in touch with you if they want to learn more about working with you?
Actually, we have thank you. We have a website. This is maybe we can also share my website too. This is my, I guess, email.
Hold on, I'll get it.
oasislandscapedesign.com. And we have special offers on our websites too. I encourage them to follow up our website. Sometimes we have surprises for the people who wants to change their life, actually. Yes.
Actually, it's .ca.
.ca, sorry, yeah. The Oasis Landscape.ca.
Oasislandscape.ca. Okay. So your phone number, if someone wants to reach out to Begum, is 236-882-3051. That's 236-882-3051. Email bgmtasarim@gmail.com.
Yes, they
But
can also
also
reach out
probably
from the website. Yeah.
Oasis,
Okay.
Landscape Design.ca.
Yeah. Thank you, Andrew. All right. Thank you, Begum, for coming today. I learned a lot. And I would say maybe your motto should be landscaping with a heart.
Oh, Jane, thank you. This is very, very nice. Thank you. Thank you,
Sweet.
Andrew. Thank
Yeah.
you. It
Thank you
was
so much.
amazing to start my day with you.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Thank
absolutely.
All
Thank
right.
you
So
so much.
if you guys want to change your garden, change your life, contact Begum. And thank you. We'll chat with you soon. Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye, everybody.
All righty. So let's just go over our needs and wants, Andrew. What do we have?
Ooh, well, we did just sign up the listing on home at 904 Garthland. It will be coming up mid-October. Price is 1.1 million. It is 3 beds, 2 baths up, with a 1-bedroom suite down below. Shared laundry. Larger lot. It's landscape in the back, goes up a bit of a hill. It's kind of nice. Built in 79, I believe, but has updated, somewhat updated upper space. And again, a nice little suite for someone. So yeah, that should be good. We just reduced price on my listing on Pandora Street to $750. That was last week, but we'd love to get some more people through. Beautiful townhouse, good size, over 1,400 square feet, 2 beds, 2 baths, with a big flex space and a single car garage. Pardon me, really on the lookout for a home. I mentioned this in the past as well, but a home. We've changed a bit of where we're looking, but Oak Bay, Fairfield would be the preference. We'll look some other areas, maybe Esquimalt if it's along the water. Up to 2 million, maybe a little higher with a suite. Really looking for a family home near really good schools.
Okay.
Yeah.
I have 2 listings coming up. So one is a 5-bedroom, 2 bath. It's legal. It's a house with a legal suite on Foul Bay Road, and that's coming up in the next day or two. That's going to be 1.1 million. What's really nice about it has two separate backyards. It was on the market a few years ago.
And what area of Foul Bay is that on?
Sorry, it's just north of Oak Bay Avenue.
Okay. Yeah.
And then I have a beautiful home coming up in Arbutus Ridge. This is a 4-bedroom, 3-bath home. It's about 3,000 square feet, and it's stunning. It's main level living and then additional rooms down below, and you have a beautiful view over the golf course and Salt Spring Island. It does not have a water view, but that's going to be coming on at 1.199,500, so just under 1.2 million, and it's gorgeous. So it's still got the balance of the warranty. It's 2015 built.
Excellent.
Yeah, and I have somebody looking for 4 bedrooms up, 2-bedroom down house. So something with a suite, and we're looking from like maybe 1.6 to 2 million.
Okay.
So
we're competing.
Yeah. Alrighty. So don't forget, you guys, we are on every Thursday at 9:30, and we'll even show up from Vancouver in our hotel room just to serve you. If you have any topics that you want presented on, please message us. Andrew, how do people get in touch with you?
Reach out anytime, 250-360-6106. Email info@andrewplank.com. And again, the website, andrewplank.com. So the theme is andrewplank.com.
And Vibe Real Estate Group.
At the Vibe Real Estate Group.
Okay, and if you want me, you can reach me. I'm Jane Johnston. You can reach me at 250-744-0775. My email is briarhillgroup@gmail.com. And you can reach us on our website, which was revamped at briarhillgroup.com. You can also watch these shows and more at victoriarealestateshow.com. And you can follow me on Instagram at realtyteacher_Remax_Victoria. And I have one piece of exciting news. We just found out yesterday that so far we're number 38 in the top 50 of small teams of Remax of Canada.
Remax Canada, congratulations in the top 50. Wonderful.
Yeah, we're really
Go.
happy.
Way to go.
So thank you, everybody, for watching us. We appreciate you, and we appreciate your continued referrals and references to your friends and family. Without that, Andrew and I, not be doing the work we do. So thanks.
We appreciate you folks. And thanks for tuning in today.
All right. Take care. Have a great weekend.
See you later, Jane. Have fun in Vancouver. I'll be hopping the ferry over there myself, but for different reasons. Jane's there at a REMAX conference. I'm going to watch a football game and visit some family. So
okay.
Yeah.
Have a great time. Bye.
Bye.